Welcome to Straight Lines. I'm Tim Neiman. This is where life lessons meet leadership, where business gets a dugout seat, and where baseball gives us more than box scores. It gives us blueprints. Whether you're managing a team, or building a brand, or just trying to lead yourself better, you're in the right place. Because here on Straight Lines, we believe the shortest distance between purpose and progress is truth, clarity, and action. Very excited today to have and fired up, pumped up to have Kris Dehnert with us today. Kris is the CEO, co-founder of Dugout Mugs, and also the Dehnert Media Group and Big Golf. Dugout Mugs became an officially licensed partner of MLB and minor league baseball, the Major League Baseball Player Association, and the Baseball Hall of Fame. Has appeared on national outlets like Fox, CBS, The View, and today was featured on Inc. 5000 list 3 consecutive years, 2021 to 2023. Kris's philosophy based around authenticity, alignment, meaningful business relationships. And we're happy to have you, Kris. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. It means a whole lot to me. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. I love supporting people in and around the space, and any chance I get to tell my story. I mean, impact one person, right? Like one person, and it was worth it. And that's just kind of the way I think.
Yeah, like you said, we were talking a little bit. I think we're cut from the same cloth. Although I'm older than you, and you're worth probably more money than I am, obviously. So
that's one metric, man. Money's only one metric.
Yeah, you're right. I wanted to talk about, where it's all started, your personal story, high school. I know you went to college for maybe a semester, something else we have in common.
Yep.
My resume says 21, some college, 21 credits, 6 A's and a B's, by the way. And then I went on to other things as well. So kind of take us through that little journey, if you will. High school, college, what made you decide to get out of it?
It's not for me. Same family most people came up with. They're like, oh, get good grades, go to school, get a good job, die for 50 years and then retire. That just really wasn't how I was built. I graduated with high honors out of high school, out of Lake Region. And, but I got expelled. I got expelled a few months before the end of the senior year, just being an idiot kid and, doing stuff I shouldn't have been doing, and, got caught, got expelled. Then I got back into school, just enough time to graduate. And then I went to college for a semester, and I realized that was horrible. The field I was going into was massage therapy. And it's the thoughts of like the first, gross person to come in. I got to cover them up with oil. I'm like, oh, dude, I'm out. What else can I be doing here? And I wanted to work at the gym. So I actually started at Gold's Gym, and I was there for probably 6 or 7 years and really fine-tuned just sales skills, people skills. It's what came naturally to me. My dad was a car salesman. My mom was a solo female entrepreneur before it was cool. My stepdad was the town barber. Like, being in and around people and having a network and just sales and personability was just second nature. So the gym industry, and then I moved out of there, and I've owned 9 companies to this point. I love growing them, scaling them, selling them, crashing them. I mean, I just enjoy business, man. And with Dugout in particular, it's cool. It's fun. The people I get to, all these are mugs signed by guys that I get to work with, so it's fun. Who I get to hang out with and play with, and what I get to do and where I get to do it, and how I get to do it is kind of really how I've built what I do now with the golf company and the mug company and my consulting company.
Yeah, you mentioned, and it's funny, I coached college baseball for 36 years as the head coach, 3 others. And I've always tried to reinvent myself as well. But you talk about the importance of young people like in your shoes that, hey, I have a great idea. This is something I might be able to do. The importance of communicating and networking. And, these kids out there today, if they're not on their phone or on their, the computer, they can't have a conversation. They can't grow. Your thoughts on that?
I think it's pathetic.
Yeah.
I think it's a lack of parenting. Am I a perfect parent? Not at all, right? But my kids don't own tablets, and they're 6 and 10, because it's a slippery slope. It's a cop out. Do I want to get outside and throw frisbees and do volleyball and pitch ball and go get in the pool? I got stuff to do, right? But at the same time, it's like, who's going to suffer, me or them? And any real parent will tell you it's not going to be them, right? So going out and contributing to that, I think the lack of communication and the lack of ability to communicate and interpersonal skills are severely lacking. And though there's a lot now, I've owned several social media management companies, and we have a few million followers online. I understand the power of social media, and I think harnessed correctly, it can be beautiful. But just as everything else is, it's like, it doesn't always come with the good. You're going to get the good and the bad and the distraction. And it's a daily practice. I catch myself, not necessarily social media, but I'll get myself caught up in things, or a Hard Rock betting app, or just anything, right? Like it's a distraction in so many ways. So many things are a distraction. And I think sometimes it comes from the overwhelming nature of not knowing what you need to be doing, right? And again, I'm very guilty of that. And I try to preach it to my kids and myself. And I got sticky notes all around me all the time. It's like, bro, on track, on track, on track. I had the timer set on my phone, how many minutes a day are being spent on which sites, so that I can monitor it. I caught myself going to just random sites that I had no business being on, just going down rabbit holes. So I blocked them. I bought a service for $10 a month that blocks, and I just uploaded all these, and I made it so inconvenient for me to unblock them that I'm forced to stay on track. And I'm at my home right now. Working from home is not easy to do. So I've dedicated an area. I made it workspace. I've cleaned it. Like it's not an exact answer to your question, but I think it also is, right. I think being cognizant of the fact that it's a life suck and a time, it just burns time, and time's the only thing you can't get back, and it just burns it. And it's, the kids are doing it because the parents are doing it.
Yeah, you worry about what
you got to break the mold at some point, or at least tailor
right.
it, right? Like I'm not stupid. We're growing up in a technical world. My kids use AI for schoolwork, right? Like it's fine. I'm okay with that. But I think just being cognizant before, Skynet takes over kind of thing. And at some point, it's just going to go sideways.
It's got to be harnessed in some manner. And I worry about
it. Can be leveraged too. We had a whole conversation with my marketing team with Dugout this morning about leveraging AI and technology. What are we going to do going into Q4? How are we going to leverage AI? How are we going to do this? Boom, boom, boom. My guys are already shooting me back all kinds of amazing stuff. So again, if you what reminds me of a little bit, I had back when I had my social media management companies, and all the way back to Gold's Gym, like 2008, 9, 6, 7, 8, 9 area. It was understanding the functionality of social media, and then how to leverage it in a way that I knew would generate sales. So it was always very purposeful what I was doing, but then I understood the technicalities and the functionalities and the infrastructure of the tool I was using to then do this thing over here, versus just because it's a rabbit hole otherwise. So I think that's more reflection on the tools we're using and how we're using them and why we're using them. Because if it's just to kill time and pass time, people may not realize it right away, but I think what happens is down the road, you'll realize, damn it, I wish I wouldn't have burned up that time, or I wish I wouldn't have wasted that time, or, because, I've had my own experiences with time, and time is important, and wasting it is deadly.
Yeah, time is, it's definitely a monumental asset.
Yeah. You got grown kids. How fast did that go?
How about it? One's 43, one's 37.
Right.
And I'm still
like that.
helping them, monitoring them, doing what I can for them. And at the same time, I continue to grow myself. After the career in coaching, I've kind of tried to reinvent myself a little bit here, and been following this concept of straight lines. Kris is, I was coaching minor league baseball It was an independent club. The Allentown Ambassadors. Ed Hott was the manager. So I'm coaching third base. We're in Lynn, Massachusetts, North Shore. And I always try to get out and look around and see what's going on. And we get there early. With Ed Hott, you were early. Talk about time. We were early. So I'm sitting in the bleachers watching rain the night before in Lynn, Massachusetts. And the staff's out there wiping down the seats, making, they care about presentation. Also, there was a guy that was dressed, very professional, classy. And I'm thinking, there ain't no way this guy's selling beer or popcorn during the game. So I just observed. I got up, walked across the field to the locker rooms and left center. And he walked with me. And I just said, look, perception to me is a lot, means everything. And, I like straight lines on the field. I like the way the grass is cut and all that stuff, how the preparation is. But I got to tell you, I am so impressed with what you've done. Just watching you whip down seats. He reaches out his hand. He says, Coach, I don't get that very often. I'm the owner of the club. He was the owner of the team, and he was also the CEO of State Street Global at the time. So this is about 22 years ago. But there's a guy that means enough. And it's one of the reasons I was excited to talk to you is you've got a lot of straight lines. And we all know the path to success is not great. But the more we can keep them straight, the more success we can have and the sooner we can get them. And really it comes down to details and that sort of thing. But straight lines are important. And that's, it's kind of where this concept came up. And they're everywhere. If you notice, they're everywhere. I do want to ask you, and you've been public about, you had a health scare, I believe, 2015. Mm-hmm. If you don't mind, talk about that a little bit, how it affected things and kind of where Dugout Mugs, got rolling.
Well, in 2015, I ruptured my appendix. I mean, it's nothing abnormal. That happens every day. I was so focused and driven on what I had to do and the meetings I had and the Stanley Cup game I had to go to and the Ferrari I was driving and my restaurant in Tampa that I had meetings at and all the hindsight irrelevant things prevented me from going into the hospital for a week. So by the time I actually got there, things had gone really south. And they had to do an emergency surgery through my back and take out an abscess using syringes and things like that. It was the size of a football, and, divine intervention, and God stepped in and built a wall around all this poison instead of letting my body absorb it, which was kind of cool because here I am living a little bit more purposefully, a little bit more, a lot more in alignment with many, many things. And I was reminded pretty quickly on the importance and the priorities, which is cool, right? Like, I think I'll never say I hope it for everybody, but I hope that something in life punches you hard enough in the face that it straightens you up and it makes you realize, oh, perhaps this facade, I've been living behind, or this, potentially bullshit journey I'm chasing, is not mine. It's not what I was supposed to be doing. It's, and you mentioned something a second ago about success. What's weird about success is I don't feel like it's a singular destination, right? It's not the cliche of, oh, it's the journey, it's not the destination. There's some truth to that. And I think what it is I think like success is multi-destinational, multifaceted, right? Like success is winning in 5 or 6 different areas in 5 or 6 different ways with 5 or 6 different metrics. Because if it's singular and it's like, when I get $1 million, blah, 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 ask anybody that's made $1 million, like there's a large chunk of them that were not fulfilled, not happy, confused. Like, I know a lot of these people, and we've talked about it in detail. And I think what it is just it's operating out of alignment on what really matters to you. So I think like I did a talk one time about currency, and it's still one of my favorite ones. It just resonated so much with me. And it's about identifying multiple forms of currency: time, fulfillment, family, purpose, fun, money, right? I'm not an idiot. Like, you have money, but like all these things. And if you're chasing them all simultaneously, you're catching more of them more often. Like there could be 7 to 10 to 20 to 50 to 75 days that you don't get the money. But what if you load it up on all this other currency along the way, right? Like you're not rich, it kind of makes it a more pleasant and fulfilling journey, I think. And I think to me, at least, that's like what the success was. So getting sick in 2015, it kind of reset the path that I was going on a little bit. And I stopped wasting time. I tell people all the time, stop wasting time with people who suck, because they'll suck the life out of you, the time, the energy, the fun, the money. They just suck. Just let them be. Right. And one of the coolest things for me is I just cut off at that moment all the people that just suck. And I started focusing on spending more time, fewer, bigger, better, fewer people, bigger deals, better relationships, better opportunities. Operating was fun as a core metric. Can I play with my friends? Is it experiential? My kids are gonna be proud of me. Like it just kind of shifts your mindset to like what's gonna matter. And when I started doing that, right out of the gates, Randall Thompson gave me a shout, and he said, "Hey man, I got this idea. I want to pick your brain." And that was the origin story of Dugout Mugs. It's like he created an idea, got it moving, right? It wasn't dead. It was moving, but it just wasn't moving fast enough. And he identified me, and I identified him as just a hard ass worker and a great guy. And he still is to this day. I just saw him the other day. And we decided to put our head down and take Dugout Mugs and just launch it, deep center. And so far, so good. We've had our struggles along the way, infrastructure and scale and things like that. And, we're always, reimagining things and creating and launching new products and killing things that aren't working. Don't fall in love with potential. It's a living, breathing thing. So I think, that's kind of what we've been up to now is trying to learn and understand what is it really and how far off track did we get from where we started and just things like that. It's a pretty frequent conversation in Dugout.
Yeah, I wrote a book called Team Killers, and I didn't get into the people that suck, but I identified.
They're out there. They know who they are.
They're
actually, they probably don't know who they are.
No, they don't. No, they do not. They don't. And they like ticks too. They attach and like, man, I got to get some alcohol and pull them out. Visiting here with Kris Dehnert of Dugout Mugs. Since 1909, Baseball Blue Book has been trusted directory for MLB scouts. And today it's grown into the most comprehensive platform in the game, but it's not just for players and coaches, it's for businesses too. Inside the Baseball Blue Book app, companies can create full profiles, promote their products or services, and even build private groups to connect directly with players, parents, and coaches. Whether you're offering training, equipment, nutrition, or any service that touches the game, you now have a direct pipeline to the baseball community. Think of it as LinkedIn meets baseball, searchable, filterable, and open to everyone. No barriers, no gatekeeping. If your business wants to stand out, it's time to get in the book. Download Baseball Blue Book today from Apple or Google Play. Visiting with Kris Dehnert from Dugout Mugs, and excited to have him as always. And you've had vast experiences, very successful experiences. Talked about some of the bumps in the road. So you've taken this idea, Dugout Mugs.
Yeah.
What's the process of building that into that national brand and international brand as it is today?
I can say it wasn't intentional, but it kind of was. I remember when Randall and I first talked about it, it was, we sat out on my back porch, actually. We had a cigar and we were just talking about, what could it be? What will it be? I had several companies before, so my mind was already kind of in the, tens of millions. And in his mind, this was his first venture at the time. And he's like, maybe we could do $1 million in sales. I was like, man, we are not on the same page. I think we got legs, but we got to go in. So I think we did envision it being big from the beginning. But again, that could also be just wishful thinking too. You don't know until you get there. But you know what it was? I think we never stopped the culture. That's a huge piece in the business it's the culture of it and the people that are here. And we are, and I am the type of person that people will gravitate towards. So if I'm running the business and my team is operating the business and we're all doing it with a similar culture, that eventually bleeds into the B2C, the business to the customer relationship. So it's just kind of be somebody that somebody wants to know, right? It's just that kind of vibe with the business. We're super casual, we're just everyday guys and girls. We're just, we're in and around the space. We're not, we're made in America. We're easy to call. You got a person on the phone. Like it's the business that people want to do business with, I feel like. And I think you mentioned at the very beginning, I think authenticity, there's plenty of people that don't like me, and that's okay. That's their problem, not mine. But we just got to go with business and life like that. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and that's cool. Neither's Dugout. You got plenty of haters out there, but that's okay. Yeah, we're going to stay authentic. We're going to do what we do, how we do it, when we do it, why we do it, with whom we do it. If they want to feature me on Fox and Friends, I'm going to go there. New York City, I'm fine with that. If they don't like it because they don't like that station and they're politically, charged, whatever, that's your problem in your life, not mine. So I just think being unapologetically authentic is kind of a superpower, which is sad. Authenticity is so rare that these days, but it is what it is. I that's the only way I know how to be.
Authenticity is very important. I think people that recognize it appreciate it too. I've always tried to live my life in that fashion. If you don't like it, so be it. I've always been able to maybe criticize with a smile on my face and, be able to cut somebody or let somebody go, and they get up and shake my hand, said, thank for the opportunity. So yeah. I think it's people, at the end of the day, we're left with those relationships and people. And I get asked about chemistry a fair amount of time. I don't know it. I can't teach it. I know it when I see it. And again, it's a lot of those straight lines, those details and culture. I had one rule my team has evolved in over the years was don't embarrass the team. So it resonated with my players and people with the program. Like, ask so-and-so, what's the only rule Coach Neiman has? Don't embarrass the team. They all would tell you. And that meant to them, it has to mean enough to you that if you are confronted with a situation, you're not, you're going to make the right decision. Right. If you don't, there's consequences. And those are kinds of things that I think, I'm getting from you here. I think it's important.
There's a style I've always kind of referred to that kind of talks similarly to what you were just saying. It's give direction, not directions. Right. And I think with us, we do weekly meetings, Monday, 10 a.m., like we had one earlier. And it's 30 to 45 minutes. And it is, here's where we're going. Here's what it looks like. Here's what it smells like, feels like, tastes like. Do we all see it? Can we all feel it? Do you have any questions? Okay, go. Talk to you in a week. Right. And micromanagement is thankfully getting outdated. Right. Like nobody, the managers hate it. The people hate it. Especially, some of the generations coming up with work and ethic and their work style and everything. So for me, it's like, if I'm good enough to paint a picture vivid enough and explain it well enough, and they can resonate with me and they believe what I believe, they're going to find out their straightest line to get there. Right. Versus me telling them how to go. There was an exercise. So I'm a member of a high-end mastermind called Board of Advisors. We meet every quarter. And there was a guy did an exercise in there I thought was really cool. And he said, everybody get out a pen and a paper, take your dominant hand, I'm right-handed, and write your name in cursive. Haven't written in cursive in a while, right? So it was, took 10 seconds, looked decent, it was legible, maybe some shit was backwards, whatever. And he's like, all right, now switch hands. I'm going to give you twice as much time and write it in cursive. And this was a shit show all over the place. It looked like I wrote it with my foot. And he's like, this is an example of what we're doing when we're asking people, and I have a point to this, so bear with me. And he says, so what this is, he says, if you ask somebody to do something that's outside of their comfort zone, oftentimes it takes twice as long and it looks half as good. And I was like, oh, okay. So I shared that with my team. And I was like, so if I'm ever asking you guys to do something that is just not something you're comfortable with, like, and comfortable, I mean, like, if they're an introvert and I'm asking them to do extroverted stuff, or if they are A-type personality, I'm asking them to do B-type stuff. And so it really got me thinking about when you're explaining things to people and you're painting that picture and you're being the Picasso in the business, you know, in line with the give direction, not directions mentality, you have to make sure that what you're painting, what you're telling, what you're doing, what you're advising is like within their skill set. Otherwise, they're going to do a mediocre at best job and then be criticized for it most likely. And I thought that was really interesting. And it kind of changed the way I engaged with and laid out expectations for certain people, certain types of people within the organization. And I think also recognizing and respecting that is well received on their side and vice versa. So it opens up a really good dialogue of doing what you do best, right? And just kind of staying in that zone.
That's fantastic. And I agree 100%. You know, it's like coaching a ball club or whatever, trying to get the right people in the right spots, doing the best things, and at the same time trying to, enhance them. You know, I said something the other day to the new coach where I left, and I said, put the kids in 4 buckets. Those that can help you now, those that should help you, so they need to be pushed a little, need to be nurtured. Those that could help you, those would be the new guys, the people you need to develop, and those that will never help you. Just let them go. They're never going to help you, and do it and let them have some dignity. But I think you'll sleep better at night if you're able to do that. And it's always hurt me more than, the person they had to let go, and maybe the same with you. But I think your stuff is, what you're saying is spot on, Kris. And I know there's no team killers, I don't think, in your organization. When I speak to corporations and stuff, how many times you hear, there's 5 ways to do this, 27 ways to do that, 48 ways to do that. How about you give me something I can't, I don't know. Give me something I don't know. And that's where this team killers came up. And in every workplace and every team, there are unseen forces that can derail success. In my book, Team Killers, I uncover the behaviors, attitudes, and habits that destroy chemistry and show you how to build a winning culture. If you're a leader, coach, or teammate who wants lasting success, this book is your playbook. Get your copy of Team Killers today and protect your team from the inside out. And that, give me something I can use, something, I don't know. Not 47 ways to do this, and then all of a sudden, I'm a robot. We talked about taking it, nationally and stuff like that. Tell me about licensing. I know that's a hard thing to attain, costly, but you're probably not successful or you have a ceiling without licensing, I would guess.
Yeah, I know. I mean, here's the thing is licensing and business and going big, it's not for the faint of heart. I can tell you this, when I got, sick and the doctor gave me a, 30% chance of not making it. Like, that's not what you want to hear in your early 30s. And it was weird. It's like you come out the other side of something like that, and other things in my life too. Like, I'm just not scared really of, what's the worst that happens? What's the worst that we're not walking out of here? None of us. No. That's literally the worst that happens, right? Yeah. Is that this awesomeness has to stop at some point. So anything other than that, it just like, they're like, oh, you're going to have to pay us a couple $100,000 guaranteed. I'm like, all right, let's go. What's the worst that happens? I lose. Okay. A lot of it terrifies a lot of people, and that's okay. You're just not built for this. And that's okay too. A lot of entrepreneurs are born, not made. There's a lot that are on the fence that have to get, trained and improved upon their skill sets and things like that. But there's some people that are just too timid for this, and it will never work. And that's, you got to be okay with it because you don't have a choice. There's some people that are not built for business, and I'm not one of those. I'm certainly built for business. I have really thick skin, a really short memory. And when it comes to rolling big dice like that, bring it. I'll bet on me every time. So when licensing came around, the minimums on it are hundreds of thousands of dollars annually, guaranteed, whether you sell one mug or a million mugs. And, I bet on us. I bet on me and Randall and our team that we could bring something to the table. Now we didn't have no data. We had data that showed that we can sell these. We can sell them well. We had margin. We can create them. Our quality control wouldn't be jeopardized. I mean, it was a calculated risk. I'm not a wild man, but at some point it's, just shut up and do it. And that's what we did. That's what you have to do. It's calculated risk, calculated decisions, but at some point you got to swing the damn bat.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, you're not going to walk yourself off the island, right? You want to get to the big leagues, and you've certainly done that. Amazing.
Well, there's plenty of players. Watch some of these players. You think Vladdy? Well, yeah, he's playing right now. Guys like that. Do you think he would rather get walked and then leave it up to whoever's behind him?
No,
probably not. If you're the big swinging bat, let's say, you want to be at the plate, bottom of the ninth, down by a one with the bases loaded. Like, you want to be the guy. I want to be the guy. I'm not scared to be the guy. And I think
on, a LinkedIn post I recently read from you, and I love your stuff. I think a lot of times you say things that we all think, but you have the fortitude and the guts to do so. I'm a little bit like that, but I haven't really taken that step to the other side, because I have thoughts, as Lewis Black would say. I have thoughts. But the recent one was unbecoming and becoming. We touch on that a little bit as we end out here the second segment. I thought it was very fascinating.
Who is it? I'll give him a shout. Nick Kuzmich, I think is who it was. Just a guy I met when I was speaking one time at a military event. I spoke on stage a couple of times at Army bases to soldiers in transition, which I love. I'm a big military first responder guy. Anyway, he said something. He was just doing like a little monologue of some sort, and it got me thinking about something, and then that became something else, and so I just did a post about it, right? And unbecoming, sometimes your happy place and your end goal isn't becoming more, it's unbecoming what you thought you wanted to be, and like peeling those layers away and getting down to your happy place. And I think the picture I posted with that, I think I was in Jamaica in the middle of the woods in a thing, having a red stripe, wearing board shorts and no shoes, right? Like, that's kind of a happy place for me. Island life and, cold beer and going swimming and hanging with friends. Like, that was a happy place for me. It wouldn't matter at that exact moment if I had $10 million or $10, and I think, when I back in 2013, 12, 13, 14, 15, all that, I wanted the car and the watches and the look at me and, the fame and it was weird. And then like afterwards it shifted to where I didn't really need that. And every year that goes by, or every day that goes by, actually, if it's somebody that doesn't align with where I'm going, get out of here. Don't need it. Peel a layer off. If I can't be exactly who I am in somebody's presence, like, bye. Like, don't need that. Right. And it's just about getting further and further down into authenticity. And what was it? I think even when Nick was talking, he said something about whenever, was it Michelangelo did the David? He said, how did you know the David? He said, the David was always in there. I just took away the parts that weren't him. Right. So just that kind of mentality. It's like the perfect version of you is already there. And are you building up crap on top of it, becoming less and less in alignment or authentic, or are you taking away the stuff that you identify isn't part of who you want to be? And sometimes that's easier and better. It was kind of the premise of it.
No, I thought it's amazing, actually. And again, I enjoy, so on LinkedIn, follow Kris on LinkedIn, you'll get all those sage words of advice. And we have a man.
And if you don't like it, you can just unfollow me.
Right? Same way. They don't like it, okay. whatever.
Rock and roll.
We got a man that's building his legacy, and I recently wrote a book called "What Is Your Legacy?" as well. When the game is over, what will people remember about you? My book, "What Is Your Legacy?" challenges leaders, athletes, and everyday people to think beyond the scoreboard. It's about purpose, impact, and the mark you leave on others. If you're ready to define your legacy and live it with intention, this book will guide the way. Get your copy of "What Is Your Legacy" today and start shaping the story only you can tell. Available at my website, coachneiman.com. You can get it on Amazon as well. We'll head into our last segment. Again, I know these things always go very quickly, and having a blast. We talked about Dugout Mugs. You got some other things going on, Dugout Dehnert Media Group, and the big golf, which is interesting, I'm sure, to a lot of people. Can you touch on something? And if there's anything else in the pipeline, I know you said you had 9 companies or something like that.
That was in the past. I again, just like I'm unbecoming the businessman that needs all the businesses. Peel away the ones that don't serve me, that don't excite me. The big golf is an interesting one. We do golf balls, USGA approved distance, 2-part golf balls. Good. It's a good ball. It's a good brand, BIGG. And what I did is I brought it in-house with Dugout. So now I do custom printing on it, right? So one of the most annoying things to get done and expensive is printing on golf balls. Well, the equipment I already own prints on golf balls. So when I bring my golf ball company in-house, now we do the celebrity tournaments for like Reggie Jackson or Johnny Damon or Big Papi or whoever. And we do their custom golf balls for their event to throw in the swag bags or corporate gifting or whatever. And then some novelty items, turning golf balls into bottle openers or shot glasses or cigar holders. So it's a cool, fun brand. Dehnert Media is a company I've had for a while, and all it is a consulting. It's a great way. One, I love to stay sharp. I love business. I love people, marketing, sales, branding, strategy. Like that. I love that stuff. So what it does is people can come to me, and I'll do usually 2 or 3 month contracts on branding and strategy and marketing. And then I hand it back to them. I mean, it's nothing really I'm interested in doing long term. It's just get people on track and send them on the way. Now, sometimes, like with Dugout Mugs and Big Golf, I'll run into something that really fits my model and me. And, I ask myself the questions: can I play with my friends? Can I leverage my network to make this deal better? Is this going to be fun? Will my kids be proud of me? Is it easy to understand? All these things. And if all those boxes are checked, well, then we can have a conversation about maybe doing what I've done. And at this point, I'm a 60% owner of Big Golf, and I'm the primary owner, like I own almost everything of Dugout Mugs. And so it's like I get into these projects that I can really dig into and have fun with, and I can find them through Dehnert Media. So it's just a consulting company I've had for a while.
Yeah. So in a situation like even for myself right now, and I know we talked a little bit about social media, I want to get into that a little deeper if you can, but for somebody like me that has reinvented myself, recreated myself, leveraging, 4 decades worth of life lessons and leadership and stuff like that. If I were to come to you, you would be able to, not just me specifically, but somebody in my shoes, you'd be able to, for 2 or 3 months, kind of, hey, here's the path that you might want to get on, and offer solutions, those kinds of things. Would that be correct? Is that the way I'm looking at it?
Yeah. So you know what it really is? It's asking better questions.
Yeah.
And I think people don't do that enough in life in general, but they sure as hell don't do it in business. They're not asking the right questions. So I inquire a lot. I'll ask a lot of questions, and it may not be for the reason people think I'm asking those questions, right? Sometimes it's simplicity in answering them. Sometimes it's having a more clear message. Sometimes it's creating the SEE, the significant emotional experience of what you're doing, right? If it's not touching on certain thing. Like, it's just, you got to I ask a lot of questions. So what it is the easiest way to explain it is like, break it down, understand what it is and what it's doing and what we're trying to get it to do, like few of those kind of things. And then it's put it back together, and that's getting dressed. You got to get dressed. And then stage 3 is the party. Like, you got to get your shit together, get dressed for the party, and then you get to go to the party. So many people want to just start at the party and they're still wearing their pajamas, right? And it's like you look like a clown, you sound like a clown, you're stuttering and stumbling. You're the worst salesperson ever, yet you insist on doing sales. Like, there's, if you want really blunt advice, that's the best way to say it. Really blunt advice, let me know. I gotcha. But if you got thick enough skin to deal with it, and you really want to, make a move, and after 90 days, I've fixed all the things that I can probably fix, and then it's up to them to just run and make it happen. So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. But I think it really comes down to better questions. And a lot of times people go into it with this emotion, or they aspire to do something. And it's like, bro, that's not enough. Like, sorry, just because you wanted something doesn't mean you get it. You have to be a little more calculated than that. And I think that's where those questions come into play.
Yeah, you need how many aspirational plans have you probably come across in your life already that, oh, that's great. I mean, I think it's important to see, envision where you want this to go.
You gotta believe it.
What steps are you going to take?
But rubber meets road at some point, right? And belief has to become practical and be able to execute on belief.
Yeah. What are you willing to do to make things happen and try to keep the line straight, but knowing, there's going to be a pothole or two, and you're going to have to deal with it. I've always said,
how fast can you change a tire? You hit a pothole. How fast can you change a tire and get back on the road? Because that's the truth of it. It's how durable are you?
You're defined by how you handle adversity. Really hard.
Yeah.
We've all had it in our life, and it's going to continue as long as we're alive. And like you mentioned earlier, it's we're here for a short speck of time. You give it hell and make the best of it all you can. I do want to touch base a little on that social media. Influencers, things like that. Are they people that help you out, or is that somebody you lean into?
Well, ironically, like right here on my computer, I'll show you influencer posting and shout outs. It's as a reminder for me during this time of year. It's not in place of, it's in addition to. And I think marketing and branding strategy needs to have these priority, secondary, and then like tertiary stuff. And I would categorize influencer and shout out on the third layer. Paid traffic, organic, paid and organic, depending on the vertical, depending on the platform, depending on the approach, the pitch, the offer, all these things. There's a lot of factors to it. Those are going to bounce back and forth between 1 and 2. And the third is going to be the influencer, because it's, influencers, it's kind of a cliche. It's kind of overused.
They sort of popular though. I mean, it seems like my wife.
To who and for why, right? Yeah. That's the point. You don't know if people are following Derek Jeter because they like the Yankees, they like the Turn 2 Foundation, they like the way he looks in baseball pants. Like, you don't know why the hell they're following him, right? So, and again, and the way social media is manipulated, and it's such a pay-to-play platform, the organic reach of things are out the window, right? It's a lot of paid ads. Then you have the political just chaos that's going on everywhere. It's called banner blindness, unless you're there to yell about a protest or a president or a governor or something. There always are. Nobody wants to pay attention to what's going on online. So what's happened is if it's within this little, 2-second attention span thing, I don't know how now, can they be impactful? Yeah, they certainly can. But if you're going to bet it all on that, I would say you're probably going to lose. And, because you've seen our social, like pick a player, Mariano Rivera and Big Papi and Griffey and Gary Sheffield and Pete Alonso and Mookie, like they're all rocking our stuff and showing it off. Trout's in the locker room with like. But we have the biggest pop when I'm on World News Tonight, or Fox and Friends, or The View, or Good Morning America, or the Today Show. That hits for us. Those aren't influencers. That's mass media. That's captured attention. Whereas influencers are more like the other guys I was talking about. And again, I think using an influencer does a couple of things. And some of which we don't even need anymore. Credibility. We're plenty credible now. We have 55,000 reviews online. We have hundreds of celebrities and athletes with our product. You'll see them on TV and pop. So we don't need the credibility anymore, right? And that's usually a great way to leverage an influencer. That's one of their magic bullets, right? You can be, I can be a representative and now you're credible. Like, so we don't really need that anymore. So that's not an angle that we would take. And the other is understanding your demographic. I know predominantly it's a 35 to 45-year-old woman that's buying my products, right? And we know that through data. So again, when you ask better questions, who's buying, why they're buying, when they're buying, what they're buying, and really dial that in, then we'll know with certainty that a 5-minute spot on Good Morning America is way better than the top 5 baseball influencers saying, hey, check out these mugs. Because who's watching, why they're watching, when they're watching, and what they're doing when they're watching. Not while they're driving, while they're at the stoplight, while they're flicking around, and then it gets buried in the social black hole. So again, it depends on what you're trying to do with social media and influencers. It is, again, back to better questions. That's what'll tell you if it's a good move or not. And it's not cheap either. Now, the one time I did a paid influencer, it was Chipper Jones. Chipper's a great guy. It was Chipper Jones. We went through BB Abbott and Jet Sports back. He sold that since, but we did a deal, and Chipper did 4 videos with our mugs in his kitchen, did some posts online, and we paid him like, I don't know, $10,000 or $15,000. But we made that back in 2 days because they had just won the World Series, and we had Chipper Jones. Hey guys, check these out. The Braves just won the World Series again. Use the code Chipper for blah, blah, blah. And then we blasted it out, and he blasted it out, and we just absolutely raked. So that worked out pretty well. I think I was 21, right? 2021, they won. So, but other than that, we don't do paid advertising with influencers.
Yeah, that reaching, and even with what I'm doing now, Tim Neiman, baseball guy. Well, yeah, I'm proud of that. I was a good baseball guy. I think I still am. But these other things I'm doing are the ability to reach other people and realize that, oh no, this podcast isn't about baseball. It's not at all.
Yeah.
We're talking about, learning some things and leadership and life lessons. And
there's a lot of parallels with life and baseball.
I'm sorry?
There's a lot of parallels between life and baseball.
Oh, amazing parallels. I always said you're never going to, the baseball guys that have gone through college baseball or whatever, they're good hires because they can deal with adversity. The game's built on failure. Yeah, 3 for 10, man. You're a Hall of Famer these days. You're a gazillionaire. 3 for 10 fixing your car. You're probably not going to be my car to me. 3 for 10.
Military and veterans as well. Ex-athletes and veterans. Shout out.
They know how to navigate, all those kinds of things. So again, trying to reach markets or reach people like the Today Show, like you did. Those are some people like Dugout. Well, it's a dugout. It's a baseball thing. Yeah, it is sort of. But, by the way, everybody likes this kind of thing. People like that. So the ability to reach those people is paramount without question.
And how we reach them. Like, I don't take myself that seriously, right? We don't. I never will. It's too much work, right? Like, I think we just show up. We offer cool stuff. We have fun with people. When we're wrong, we say we're wrong. When we're right, we do it more, Just be again, if you want to simplify it, be somebody that other people want to know.
1,000%. Done. Yeah. Done is right. You want to, I know that guy. I've always told young people too, the networking is critical. Get to know as many people as you can. But the other side of that equation is get them to know you. I mean, I can say, I know this guy, I know that guy. Oh, he don't know me, from Adam, but
Mhm.
once I get to know you, things can take off. Probably one more question for
Well, to
you.
one more point to that, I mean, that's probably one of the things I say more than anything. It's not who you know, it's who knows you that matters. And it's like if you call, do they pick up the phone?
Right?
If not, you don't know them.
No, you don't.
No, you
No,
don't.
and a lot of name droppers out there, and you know, jock sniffers, if you will. I mean, you don't know them. You don't. Just
Yeah.
it's okay to say you met them. Let's say that,
Mhm.
but you don't know them. I'm not going to pick up the phone. I mean, that's a good way to put it. All right, so let's kind of wrap things up a little bit here, staying on time.
Yeah, I got a few
If
more
you,
minutes. I'm happy to help.
yeah, I got you. If you could tell your younger self some piece of advice at this point, what would that be? I don't.
If I could tell
There's
my
something you want
younger
to change.
self
Well,
something,
look at it this
what would
way.
it
Look at it
be?
this way, I guess. What advice would you have for those kids in college right now that are coming out to aspire to do what you're doing, or trying to build their own network, their own life? What would you tell them? Because that was probably you, although you had a lot of entrepreneurial genes inside you in your early
Yeah.
days. But
Yeah,
what would
hindsight,
you tell?
I look back at some of the stuff I was doing in school, selling candy, making bracelets, anything to just hustle up money so I had money to spend at the movies. I think a lot of people are built. The one thing I say all the time, and I'll say it again, spend more time reflecting on what really matters to you. Is it family? Is it fame? Is it money? Is it experiential living? Like, what lights you up? Is it travel, or is it being a homebody? Like, there's no wrong answers. There's just shitty questions. And you got to start asking yourself better questions and reflecting more, because as soon as I figured out like what I wanted to be, and what I mean by that is, as a human, like, what do I want to do? How do I want to act? How do I want to dress? What do I want to say without any fear of being disingenuous? Like, just who am I? And I think the faster somebody gets to that point, the happier they're going to be, the fewer stupid mistakes they're going to make, they're wasting time going down the wrong paths in relationships. It's like, I'm never going to smoke or drink. Let me go date a girl who smokes and drinks. It's like, what are you doing? Like, it's not going to work. That's not going to work. You're trying to put a round peg in a square hole, right? So I think just trusting your gut and being a little bit more intentional on building the lifestyle that supports the person who you want to be. And realize there are no small decisions either, because sometimes a small decision at one point could completely derail everything you're trying to do and where you're trying to end up. So it's about waking up and being intentional on a daily basis. I wrote something down. It's actually going to be a post on LinkedIn. Success is sequential. Success is sequential, not simultaneous, right? So it's like this and this and this and this and this and this, right? And it's understanding what that sequence looks like and feels like, and being very clear with the end goal in mind, so that every day it's kind of like a North Star. And I don't think I did that enough when I was young. I didn't have anybody to teach me to do that. But that's the advice I would give myself and others, is just ask better questions to understand who you are and where you're going. And then every day wake up a little bit more intentionally in that direction.
Stacking those victories, right? I think that's what they call it. And
Yeah.
in the legacy book, the why represents yearning. And basically what I tell you is, what makes your heart swell? What makes you get up in the morning? What makes you feel good? This has been fantastic. Thank you for joining me on Straight Lines, where leadership lessons meet the game of baseball. Remember, leadership is about drawing straight lines, even when life throws you curveballs. If you enjoyed today's show, share it with a teammate, subscribe, and connect with me on social media for more insights. And if you want to dive deeper, check out the books, Team Killers and What is Your Legacy? Until next time, lead with clarity, play with purpose, and keep your line straight. Kris, I want to thank you so much for being with me today. I can't thank you enough. I am most grateful, and I wish you nothing but continued success.
Well, I appreciate that, and I wish you success with your new ventures and all the people's lives that you're going to touch too, man. So cheers to you.
Thank you, sir.
All right.